So, just to start us off, could you please just introduce yourself for our readers and explain why you decided to work for Centili?
Okay, well, I mean, I'm Zoran, obviously, and I've been in the internet, telecom, media, investment, digital industry now for over 25 years. I had a privilege to work for some of amazing companies in this period of time. Obviously, first starting in the early days of internet, and then moving in a more complex environment like telecoms. And then the entrepreneurial spirit drove me out of those systems to start uh, my own consulting company. And then obviously I had success in advising media and telecom companies across few continents, which also allowed me to see the story from the other side. And that kind of was a springboard for me to into what was really coming next, and that's this whole concept of the digital world. And I had an opportunity to launch digital companies, digital ventures, to buy and sell, take companies public, take companies into trade sales, raise capital, and it was just an exciting time, really, that was happening through my career. And over time, I met the founders and shareholders of Centili several years ago, and I always felt that it's a company that has great story, has great potential, that in one way or another I would want to be involved with it. And I first attempted to acquire the company with my previous firm, and when that did not really work out at the end the way I wanted, then my next logical step was to say, if I really believe in organization, then I'll go and join them, and if they want me. And I was fortunate enough that shareholders and the founders recognized the value, and I'm really glad I made that move. So here I am today in the front seat.
Well, I could tell by looking at your LinkedIn that you had quite a high level of experience across a lot of sectors, particularly in technology, telecoms, and investment. How would you say, Zoran, that experience has shaped your current approach to being the CEO?
I mean, that's a great question. As I said, I was really fortunate that I worked for some great companies, and I took some risks also in my career just to give myself a chance and build that background and build that knowledge that I always felt will be necessary for any individual to eventually be a leader and be successful in building and leading ventures. I never really had a dream of wanting to be a CEO and then that's it, correct? Then you're done. Just because you carry these titles. For me, it was more about giving myself the best possible chance to to have the knowledge and surround myself with people and experiences that will allow me to lead and allow me to lead by example, and having also spent quite a bit of time in management consulting, where you obviously learn a lot of structure and everything else that sometimes could go wrong. It's something that, yeah, it was quite enriching, and also having this great opportunity to work in developing and emerging markets across multiple continents. I think that's probably the richest asset an executive and individual can have. That now, when you are given a chance to again start something or take something over and take it to the next level, you have so many reference points that you can link to, and that you can filter through your next step and your next strategy and everything, that now, after so many years in the industry, you really don't have much room for mistakes. So and if you do, you probably have one left. So I think that's how I think that background has shaped me, and I am where I am. But again, I also must say that it also lot of that shaping up has to do also with the teams that you have, and with the people that you surround yourself, not just within the organization but also outside, as your mentors, as your advisors, as people that just wanna work with you, and people that you want to work with and trust, and then also that combination really shapes the today a digital leader, and that's what I think I am.
It's funny you mentioned about the culture and teamwork because you became the CEO at a very challenging time, both in global history and economic times. What strategy did you employ to kind of keep things level and keep people motivated?
Well, the first strategy was I don't believe this is happening strategy. Because Corona started on day one of my appointment. And then one could sit back and say exactly what I said. I don't believe that's happening to me. Or one can say, well, okay, maybe this is that signal and that challenge that somebody does not need his first 100 days a job, but actually gets it in the first minute when he lands in a new country or in a new job. So. But you're right. I think we entered this year, a year of kind of uncertainty, and now 6 months, 7 months into pandemic and everything. What I actually observe, and I just spoke with my guys yesterday, this concept of everybody's kind of still waiting for something to happen, and and I just don't know what are people waiting, because nothing will really happen. Everything is really in our hands to take control, to understand what this is causing to the industries, to the business, to the people, to the way we used to working before, and just take action and make decisions. There will not be a date where somebody will go on TV and say, guys, let's go back to 1st December 2019. That will never happen, and our companies will never look like they did in November 2019. That's it. So I think I really took this that approach very, very early in this role, and obviously during this pandemic. And I said, listen, we got a strategy to build, with a company to execute, actually a strategy to execute, company to build, people to motivate, continue to grow, continue to hire, demonstrate that our industry was fortunate enough not to be affected as maybe some other industries. And there you go. Also there's some luck coming with the decisions you make, and the businesses that you participate in. And with that, we just really mobilized the organization, mobilized the team, organized ourselves a little bit in a different way. Met my entire team online, executed and started to build a strategy which was remotely executed, hired some great new teammates into the organization, and that believe in what we do and believe in where we need to take this company, and so far so good.
I'd like to get a little bit on Centili in your own words. So first of all, could you tell me how you consider it to be different from its competitors?
Yeah, that's always an everyday question. You wake up and you look in the mirror and says, okay, I wanna continue to look different, correct? And I want to continue to do things differently. And one of the biggest draws for me getting this role and being associated with this company was that I recognized that there's a lot of potential to allow us to create a distance between us and our competitors, not by doing the same things better, but actually by just launching and doing things differently. Just because of that vast knowledge, by having people that used to work in all parts of our ecosystem, in a telecom side, in digital media side, in the internet business, in gaming, entertainment, video. I mean, all the ingredients were really there. Great engineers that are able to build great tech, great platform, and so forth. So I just realized that if we put some shape and some structure around this and really allow ourselves to talk to the right audiences day in and day out, from our partner side and from our customer side, from analysts and from media and from investors, that will already create a platform for Centili to be different and to look different. That also now does not just say that automatically makes us different. We also need to act different. We also need to execute in a disruptive way, and so forth. So these are all the things that we are that they are inherited. Obviously, coming into the company now with our strategy being put in place that we are executing, we are shaping that model for the company, and also really understanding what the industry needs and what our partners and our customers in the ecosystems really need, but not what they need today. What is that they will be needing a year from now, or 9 months from now, and so forth. So our conversations on daily basis are all about what is that we can anticipate coming, and what is that we can invest and develop faster, better, quicker, and cleverer on behalf of our customers and the ecosystem. And if we continue to do so, I think that's exactly what's going to continue to allow us to be different and step away from what traditionally was a very crowded payment gateway, middleman type of industry, which now it's really to the point where you really need to have a differentiated story, and it's not only about your scale, but it's really about the scope that you can build within your ecosystem.
And another question, which I'm sure you must get quite a lot, is what do you consider your greatest success to date to be?
Within Centili, or in general?
Within Centili.
Within Centili, wow. I think, yeah, I mean, it's being able to actually do so much in 5-6 months, and do so much in a remote fashion. Being able to mobilize the organization, which I thought it will never be easy to do when you have a new leader and maybe some other parts of the leadership keep coming fresh into the organization, and do this with as little personal touch and personal interaction. So I think that's probably one of the greatest challenges, but also good successes, to see that there's enough traction and motivation and energy that's being built behind not just my arrival, but the arrival of this new vision for the company, and embracing. And I think also it's also a success in this very short period of time, this continuous curiosity by the industry and by our customers and by our partners. What is this next stuff and next thing that Centili will do? We recently won the most innovative DCB recognition by a research organization, and now suddenly, by using that properly and communicating some of our product releases and plans, it's really rewarding to see that curiosity and that continuous conversation that is being now triggered by the customers themselves, and existing and potential new ones in companies that are still not in our stable, that are now signaling that they would like to do something with us. And in our industry, which is a B2B industry, you always want to sit on a plane and go and meet somebody, and that's our normal modus operandi, correct? But now you cannot do this anymore, and you're still able to deliver your points, deliver your messages, still win business, and so forth. So that's what I would really consider a great success in these early days. But then again, there's so much more work to do, and I'll give you an update on what's next.
And I'd also like to get your opinion on a relevant technology topic which is trending at the moment, which is blockchain. It's got a lot of potential in the wider payment sector, and I'd like to know if Centili are using it, and if so, how.
Yeah, so the straight answer is we're not using it. It's something that has appeared in our product conversation and in our debates over where does this fit within our wider product roadmap in addressing payments specifically and the experiences that need to be delivered in that part of the business. But I think there's a lot of potential for blockchain in part of the verticals that we are serving. Correct. So there's great conversation and some of the initiatives in the media industry. Correct. That's something that's ripe and ready for blockchain type of technology and type of process. And same thing obviously in payments itself, but payments would be an end result of something that's also blockchained before. And I think we're kind of at this moment sitting and observing where does this fit and how does this really add value in the verticals that we feel strong about that are still growing and so forth. And are they going to do something with blockchain? In that case, then maybe adding a payment element that's blockchain based and so forth, or tokenization in some of some sort and so forth will probably make sense. But at this stage, there's so much other work we still have to do, and there's so much untapped opportunity in what we've been doing so far that our innovation team is probably observing what's happening, and maybe at some point let us know if we are ready to take a more deeper dive into blockchain and add this into our offering.
Fantastic. All right, so now we proceed on to the questions around Centili itself. And the first one I'd like to ask is about the Shifting Gears growth strategy, which was launched shortly upon you joining. Could you please outline the primary goals of that plan, how you've been achieving them, and any challenges you've encountered along the way?
Yeah, so I coined the term shifting gears as I entered the organization as a strategy, which is really all about moving us from being just a payment gateway and a third party middleman connecting parts of the ecosystem into more of a true digital orchestrator. And in order to be a real orchestrator of these digital experiences, or monetizing these digital experiences, we needed to shift gears, and we needed to shift gears from the set of products and services we will be launching to the way we run parts of the business and the way we have organized the company and so forth. So that was really the motivation and the structure of the shifting gears strategy, which also talks to the segmentation that is most appropriate for our coverage, to the type additional services that maybe we are missing in our portfolio, or those that we want to invest in and want to build on in order to create this distance. And shifting gears is also really, for us, what shifting gears also means is becoming an expert in the industries that we serve. I think we are already recognized in monetization, in payments, in platform. That is already acknowledged, and I don't need any more awards there. Now what you really want to be recognized is that you really understand what are the pain points in gaming, what are the pain points in video, OTT, music, what are the pain points in entertainment, in in fintech, in other e-publishing, obviously, which is a big segment for us. Understanding the frictions that exist in these industries and being able to resolve them within our service offering and with our platform, that is what also is part of shifting gears, to actually become an expert in sectors that you serve, so that therefore here you build enough trust, you build enough relevance, and you actually become the go-to person or go-to platform for the industries that you serve. And if we do so, and if we achieve half of that shift that we originally envisioned, I think that's already creating a differentiating a position for Centili, and allowing us to obviously create the distance and obviously be eventual winners, or part of the winning circle in the sector.
And furthermore, onto that point, what technologies do you consider vital for an optimal digital monetization? Like IoT, data analytics, anything like that?
I mean, yeah, I think it's very important that we recognize and continue to invest in data analytics, in everything that manages to interpret the vast amount of information that is being collected, both from transactional data to user behavior data to device data and everything that because we spend so much. I mean, consumers and users spend so much time on their phones throughout the day. There's so much vital information that could be combined with transactions, with location, with behavior, that if this is properly, obviously secure, but then later on also interpreted, that allows for a creation and co-creation of fantastic new products, both with, for example, mobile operators that are also always looking for advantage and always looking how to monetize better and save and keep a loyal customer base or reward their users, while at the same time maybe shifting and changing some of the ways that some of the digital companies are creating their products and their market approaches without really having all the data sets. So I think that's probably one of the I guess key important elements is building and becoming stronger in data, in AI, that obviously can also process all these and anticipate things that and at faster pace than maybe any of us that just read reports can do. Correct. So I think that's something that is also critical for us. Security is always an important thing in every time you're dealing with transactions, and every time you're dealing with anything that touches personal data and so forth. So I think that's something that continues to be a critical element. The industry itself, micropayments, carrier billing, it still has a lot to do, and it continuously does. I must admit that many of our competitors and partners are continuously investing to make sure that the name of this service and name of this industry remains clean and respected, and that we don't allow any other funny business to happen around. Because if that happens, then as I said, you probably don't have a second chance. So that's something that's very interesting, and for us, we truly believe that a combination of conversations and payments is something that's a technology that will, in my view, explode. We spend so much time on daily basis, and these days we use phones for two reasons: to entertain ourselves and to converse with somebody. That's the only thing we do on these screens. And now if you are able in those conversations to actually embed monetization and payments with instant booking, instant betting, instant buying, instant redemptions, and so forth, all in one same click, all in one same experience, I think that's huge. Right now, that's still happening on multiple apps and multiple other links. You get redirected into different into different places. Here, if now that user experience is delivered well, I think that's the next big thing, and we are working on launching that product also, and I'm excited to see where we can take it next.
That sounds great. I'd also like to ask about micropayments and how you've been using them to increase efficiency in transactions.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of transactions that are happening through Centili and in general in our industry are micropayments, correct? So these are all small ticket items that people would pay to either subscribe or to buy something if they are in a game, or if they're online, doing entertaining themselves with a music video, or if they're in a iGaming environment and so forth. So this whole industry is really about micropayments, correct? Some of the industry players also moved into larger items, and some of this is used also in your traditional e-commerce setup where the limits are higher. But in general, it's all about micropayments. And in our, in Centili's environment, where we are really focused on developing and emerging markets, where we are really, understanding this whole concept of unbanked and people without credits, in a world that is 85% prepaid and 80% does not have a bank account. Everything is micro, and having a partner and having a company and a platform that has build the services and create an ecosystem to cater for that part of the world was really our mission, and continues to be so, to actually really understand how to allow a vast majority or segment of people in a specific country or in a specific region to utilize this concept of buying, of transferring in micro terms, and even going further, there is recognizing their loyalty and recognizing their longevity in utilizing some of these services, so that sometimes when they run out of funds and run out of credits and so forth, that maybe you are there to provide that micro lending element where they'll come back, they'll probably consume again, but just at that specific moment they ran out of credit. And I think there's also a role for many of us in an industry, especially those that recognize this, to cater for services that will be able to address these niches also, and help in this inclusion that everybody talks about. But the real financial inclusion is also being part of that process of recognizing that maybe we can jump in, lend somebody something that he can finish his either entertainment that he start or a conversation that he has just attempted to do, and then move on. And I think that's something that we are obviously working on and promoting. And for us, it's all about micro.
It seems whatever the approach the Centili has taken, it's paid off incredibly well. I mean, it's currently partnered with over 280 mobile network operators, reaches more than 4 billion mobile users. It's great success. And I just want to know how, given those impressive achievements, you intend to maintain an active roadmap for further expansion.
Yeah, this is a great question, simply because we want to say we just started, correct? So it's it's been next year is going to be 10 years, but there's still another 400 operators that are not connected, and there are still regions that haven't heard of us, correct? So rather than maybe just looking at these absolute numbers, I think it's very important, and for us was always important to say, do we have, are we offering the complete coverage to our partners in the ecosystem? And if we are not, obviously that base of connectivity with operators, and then also e-wallets and e-marketplaces, which gives you that coverage, continues to be one of the top priorities, because without that reach and without access to that end user and that device, as you also mentioned, we don't have a business, correct? So that continues to be the top priority. So part of our strategy obviously has identified countries and regions with an increased digital spend, anticipation of the population growth, the youth, the segments that obviously will be attracted to our digital merchants and partners that we bring, and based on that, we will continue to expand that coverage. Now, once you have that coverage, again, you always need to look for the next best digital story and next best digital partner. In one region, there will be set of games. In some other region will be set of video OTT players. Somewhere will have to be a combination of both, and then just continuously keeping the pulse on the market to see what is that additional dollar will be spent on, and then based on that, continue to build the roadmap, continue to expand, and provide the best actually experience that we can. And part of that shifting gear strategy and our vision is really to have that that excellent experience, that frictionless experience that we talk about because in our industry, the abandonment rate and the rates of people that really attempted to purchase or consume or transact, and the percentage of them abandoning that process, it's still very, very large. So here you have somebody that he really wanted to spend and really wanted to consume, but just because that experience was not well done and not really something that was appealing, you will have a large percentage of them abandoning the process. And as you know, that dollar probably will never come back because by that time, that person was distracted on his phone with something else and he went off to do something else. So we understand this, and I think that's also part of that, roadmap of expanding. Besides coverage, also understanding that some of these experiences need to be improved and they need to be frictionless in order to claim success, and that's what we are working on every day.
Perhaps another good marker of the company's success was its recent featuring on Rocco 2020's innovation report as the best rated carrier billing company. I'd like to know what that honor meant to you personally and which specific innovations within Centili you credited it to.
Yeah, I think that recognition every year, it only raises a bar to us internally, having that we have to stick to the plan and we have to continue to innovate. I think, to be honest, it's not something that we will carry a medal around the neck and walk into next customer meeting and say, therefore, you have to work with me. That's not how it works for us. I think for us it's really okay. I think we are still innovating. I think we're still on our toes. Everybody else that is in the industry is gonna try harder, not necessarily to catch up with Centili. I don't believe in that. I just believe they're gonna try to compete harder, and also they're gonna try to build and innovate as much as we do. And I think that's what that recognition really means, and also actually means that there's enough trust being developed between us and our partners that have actually provided that feedback during research, that we cannot be complacent and that we cannot let down. That's now the expectation of everybody that has given us this grade. And I think that's really where the challenge now lies, correct? That we can't disappoint the customers, we can't disappoint the partners, we can't disappoint the industry now itself. And I think that's what really a recognition like this means. Which technology and what specifically has been a key for this is actually a combination of things. It's not one specific launch that really was really recognized there, or one specific feature. I think this continuous involvement and refresh of our platform and ability to continue to be flexible and adopt to the needs that are coming from the market, versus being caught in a situation where you would have an operator or maybe a digital partner ask for a specific business model or a specific feature, and then you will go away and say, yeah, that's on my roadmap and it's going to be done in 2 years. No, our advantage there that something like this, it's probably done within weeks, and that is what was refreshing, and that is what was recognized there. That anything that requires a business model flexibility in monetizing digital, it's actually achievable with Centili much faster than probably some of the other partners that they have, and I think that's really what was disaccredited, and that's exactly what I mentioned earlier. If we continue to do so, that's the distance that Centili needs to maintain in order to give ourselves a chance to maintain a part of the leaders and the winners circle in this industry.
Great stuff. I'd now like to go into partners. Obviously, no company is an island, and it's often the partners which can help really make the difference in terms of success. Now, 21st Century Technology, Tencent, Infobip, and iTaxi are some of your key partners. I wonder if you could please go into your relationship with them, outline any recent projects you've had, and consider why they're so essential.
I mean, some of the names that you have mentioned, they're true digital trailblazers, as I like to say. But and they are the digital trailblazers, just like we want to be, and we claim we aspire to be, simply because they've been leaders in the industries that they are part of. They've been disruptive, and they have recognized a true partner in us. In order to build businesses and build the future together. 21st Century is a very very interesting example of a company that has great leadership in Nigeria, and that has recognized and has an ambition to really digitize Nigeria and that part of Africa to the level that I haven't seen before. And they needed a partner, they needed a platform that will enable them to do so, which will then accelerate their ambition of connecting not just the operator ecosystem, but also all the other digital ecosystem that exists in Nigeria and then on a wider Africa continent. And it's a great success because the speed at which you are not used to really working in Africa and so forth. This is a great company that has recognized what else they can do with Centili above and beyond even our current roadmap and our current offering. And they're challenging us on monthly basis with some new ideas, and you would think that will sometimes come from more advanced economies and geographies, correct? Not necessarily from Nigeria, but here you are really being asked to think out of the box, and even something that is not necessarily in your roadmap, I will bring it back in and try to include, because I'm sure that if we actually make it happen there, we'll be able to repeat it and replicate probably in some other less difficult markets. So I think that's a great story, and I think their leadership will really do great things. We don't have to probably speak too much about Tencent, the most valuable internet company in the world, that again has recognized in Centili an ability to integrate fast, distribute fast, and also be flexible in adjusting to their specifications, to their business model, not so much to what we were used to dealing with not giants like them. Correct. So and also just being able to be around the table with companies like this also allows for a lot of learning, for a lot of download, for a lot of visioning, and sometimes also sometimes with an honesty check. Are you up to par to still be around and still be there because they're so much larger, they're so much more in demand and so forth, and how much harder you have to work in order to keep them as your customer. It's honest, and it's honest to say we need them more than they need us. So I think that's something that again, it's part of also being humble, but at the same time being grateful that they have recognized a value in Centili. Infobip, it is our parent company, and it's a unicorn out of South Europe. It's organization that is a world leader in communication platform as a service, in CPaaS, and it's a company that's gonna continue to do great things in that sector. And for us, just being part of that family, but specifically working on monetization, actually gives us great advantage now when we talk about that conversational commerce, when we talk about things that they are best at and the customers that they have managed to acquire over 14 years, and portfolio that they have both on operator side and enterprise side. And now with a lot of these industries merging and cross-fertilizing, where that experience of commerce and payment is just always underline everything else that you do online, I think that's a fantastic match for us. And I think that's why we are actually quite fortunate that we were born out of an Infobip environment and given the freedom to build this company. But again, it's very important that we stay as near as possible, because they are obviously a global leader in what they do, and we still continue to learn a lot from a company like Infobip. And iTaxi, it's a very interesting case. It's not your traditional a segment where many of us in carrier billing and monetization started. We all started in gaming, VAS, and everything else. And now this increase of mobility and ride sharing and that industry, the Uberization of these industries, correct? And this is an example of organization that has done this in Poland and so forth, that have recognized that again. It is a micro item. It's something that can be monetized through a platform like ours and to services like ours catered for carrier billing and some other payment methods. And we were very excited that the vertical, which is that mobility vertical, has started to grow and give a chance in this part of monetization that we are able to provide, and I'm confident that and since that launch with iTaxi, we've been in many more conversations in the sector, asking for similar solution, wanting to know more about the use case, and so forth. Obviously, there's a lot of mindset change still required on the consumer side, that's now also possible to consume or actually to pay for in a specific through a specific channel. But then again, it's a role of all of us to stimulate that and share that knowledge. You can't just rely on that vertical itself. Somebody who's great in running a taxi fleet might not be the greatest company in marketing, correct? And so forth. So all of us that now had a chance to actually complete that ecosystem and start to deliver these services have a role to play in promoting this, and we do so. We're very proud of that partnership, and I'm sure we're gonna do more in that segment.
You've gone into quite a few key partners there. Before we move on from the subject, were there any others, key service providers that you would like to include as a special mention?
I mean, I think, not to take out too many of them, and I don't want others to be angry at me later. But obviously, there's a lot of, the consumption of e-publishing, e-learning, especially now that we went through this pandemic and this shift of what's going to remain now online and what's going to suddenly explode on mobile, correct? There are obviously some partners that we are very excited about, like Busu, which is a language learning, Z5, which is an OTT company, Sony Entertainment, which is also growing its OTT presence and understood how monetization through platforms like ours will actually accelerate and get them deeper into some of the mobile first countries or mobile only countries, correct? So these are the partners that we are very excited about to be in conversations. Gameloft, correct? Somebody that obviously has a fantastic library of games and so forth. People that really have built and invested years and years in developing their inventory for traditional business and have now moved into a mobile experience. And these are some of the partnerships that we are very, very excited to continue to support and build on together and be part of their acceleration, because if they succeed, obviously we will also.
Turning now to the future, in the case of my next question is the very near future. Centili Fusion, which is the company's solution for consolidating apps and services, is scheduled to go live this month. What was the inspiration for that?
The inspiration for Fusion is a result of our continuous conversation and understanding of what's happening in the telco industry. One of the key stakeholders in our industry and obviously on our platform are our relationships with over 300 operators, but understanding the challenges of operators to continuously stay relevant in digital and also have access to tier one best possible content and content sources was one of the key motivations. And for that to actually work smoother and better, it was very important to launch a set of services or as we call it, a platform that allows for quick access to those relationships that we have in order to bundle very specific offerings for the user base that the operators have. And this could be in a form of soft bundling, hard bundling, data gifting. There's a variety of business models that will be available on Centili Fusion, which actually really accelerates a launch of any digital specific or a game specific data pack on operator network, something that can be targeted for a specific segment, something that can be gifted as a reward or as a loyalty to a very specific segment and so forth. And that is something that over years of understanding what's happening within an operator and inside their digital businesses or traditional VAS groups and so forth, and then also how long it takes to acquire all these digital relationships and how long it takes to integrate and activate and sometimes even commit from marketing perspective and so forth. We have removed all this for both parties, for digital companies and for operators, by saying, given that we can do this in multiple locations with multiple operators, we actually remove a lot of that initial headache. And with one single integration and with a selection of where you want to launch specific a bundle of that sort, it's much easier to go live and actually shorten that conversation to cash time, which is more relevant today and specifically relevant to operators, because that's where the biggest challenge in data monetization, in continuous disruption is happening. And having somebody that actually understood that and have an ability to utilize the platform that we already have to cater for this, it allows us to get Fusion going. And we in pre-launch weeks, we already seeing traction, and we already having some very, very interesting conversations, and we are just waiting for the launch next week.
2020 has been a strange year, but for better or for worse, we're almost at the end of it, and 2021 is starting to come onto our minds. What's your vision for Centili for next year?
Wow, it's still not end of 2020. so much more to do. I think for us, we are very clear actually what we need to achieve for rest of this year, in order to set a good stage for next year. You're absolutely right. 2020 was nothing like what we originally planned, and I think all our strategies and a lot of our targets and our results are going to be challenged and are modified and remain fluid. And I think there's a lot of learning that's still going to happen in this year. I think 2020 is actually going to be the year where everything that we experimented and everything that you actually learned this year in these unconventional circumstances and in a way that this year has just shaped, it's going to be the year where you'll be able to actually apply all of that with much more rigor and much more conviction. Now you're here, we are still, as I said, anticipating something. We are still working on things and so forth. I think a lot of I think this year will still allow us to actually maybe prioritize things that we were not prioritized before. We will probably shape our expectation and our vision earlier and faster than maybe what we needed and wanted, just so that we actually have a head start in 2021 and just go head down and execute. I think our strategy is very clear. Our vision is defined. We're building and strengthening the team across the globe, and there will be just no excuse why 2021 will not be a full execution year, allowing us then also to build an organization that will create more exciting news and make more noise in the industry.
I like to ask this next question because when I come to write the article up, it will help me shape the content. Do you have a key message or theme that you'd like to convey?
Dina, what's our key message?
But maybe we should go back. I mean, you've talked about it, but on our vision. I think this is kind of the key message we want to keep repeating everywhere. And kind of, I think it's important, and Zoran, please let me know if you agree, that really we stop treating ourselves and our market as a DCB market. It has become so much more. And we're really now in this whole digital monetization universe, where opportunities are getting bigger, channels are getting more complex, and really when a company approaches us and works with us, we really can open up a lot of topics and opportunities for them to grow. And I think growth is one of our keywords, definitely, and this digital monetization is the whole new playground for everybody, whether they're banks or telcos or digital merchants or e-marketplaces and so on. I think everybody wants to find new sources of revenue, and this is really what we should be talking about.
Correct. And I think if I use this concept of if somebody says, how do you maybe define this in a sentence or in a set of words, we are in a mode or building a company that is all about monetizing these digital experiences, correct? And this is because everything we do these days, or most things that we do today, it's somehow digital, and it's becoming more and more digital. And in some segments, and in some countries, in some nations where where their only screen is mobile, everything is digital, correct? Everything is there. So being able to monetize these experiences and be an enabler of that is really what Centili is all about. And today, in last 9 years, this was in gaming and entertainment. It doesn't mean that that's where it's going to remain, correct? There's much more things that's happening in super apps, in other e-marketplaces. We don't know, and that's why I say it's important to spend a lot of time anticipating what is that next disruption, what else is going to be disrupted, so that we are still ready for this, because when that happens, it's still going to be disrupted in a digital way. It's not going to be disrupted in a science way. It's going to be disrupted in a digital way. And for that, we just want to be there, correct? And that's our goal, and that's really, in a sentence, being the true enabler of monetization of digital experiences, and that is really where we see ourselves. And Dina was right to remind me, it's grow, grow, grow.